Hola, hola, bienvenidos a todos a la clase de español. Hi everybody, welcome once more to Spanish class. Antes de continuar con esta presentación, asegúrate que hayas terminado todas tus tareas y que entiendes estos conceptos. Woo, did you catch all that? So those of you who took Spanish with me at Argyle in the past know that that's how I begin every single one of my presentations and videos. What does it mean? I hope you're paying attention because this is the only time I'm going to tell you. It means before continuing with this presentation, make sure you have finished all your previous tasks and homework and that you understand these concepts. So just like I explained in the welcome video, it's really, really important that you complete all the assignments in order, right? So at the beginning of every instructional video, I'll give a quick recap of what you should have accomplished before and completed before continuing with this video. And of course, at the end, I recap what you should be focusing on moving forward. So here, this is before you begin, continuar, to begin with this presentation, con esta presentación. Asegúrate, asegurar is to make sure. Te is informal for you. So you make sure que hayas terminado, that you have finished todas tus tareas, all of your homework or tasks, y que entiendes and that you understand estos conceptos, these concepts. Okay, so last week was your first week, so you didn't have much to do, just watching the Meet Your Teacher video. Totally optional, but it does give you a better idea of how the course is run. Your welcome video, of course, was very, very important, and it was, in fact, mandatory. Hopefully, by now, you've also familiarized yourself with the 3 sites that we're going to be using, Google Sites, Google Classroom, and Blackboard. And, of course, you've completed the welcome questionnaire quiz on Google Classroom. If you haven't, pause this video right away, go back and complete it first. I actually caught a lot of students who were actually placed in the wrong level, did some shuffling around last week, which was no problem at all. But if you're not in the right level, you need to go back and complete that quiz so I can make sure you're in the right level before we continue. All right, so the next step, every time you come into your Blackboard sessions, we will begin with a basic conversation, una conversación básica. And I will begin every session like this, and I will not be helping you in English, no Inglés. So make sure you're ready to go. So first off, I will be greeting you in español. I'd either say hola, buenos días, buenas tardes. Hola, of course, is hello. Buenos días, good morning or good day. Buenas tardes, good afternoon. And I am going through this a little quickly because this should all be 100% review. This is how we did all the sessions in previous courses, and hopefully at this level you've done that in previous courses with me or without me. So it should definitely be review. Hola, hello, buenos días, good morning or good day, buenas tardes. And yes, I will be listening for your greetings as well as a bit of a variety. So please, whatever you do, make sure you're not always just saying hola. Definitely try a few different ones. And remember, when we're online for our Blackboard sessions, this is a safe place for you to practice as much Spanish as you want. So take some risk, get out there and say buenos dias or bienvenidos or something. Even if you explore different greetings that you want to try out in class, I highly, highly encourage it. Next, I'm going to ask you, ¿cómo estás? How are you? So of course you can answer estoy, and then however you're doing, but I do ask that you finish it with a complete sentence. So if you were good, you can say estoy bien, gracias. Y usted. So I am looking for that specifically. So definitely get into the habit of saying that each time. If I ask you cómo estás, no, I will ask you cómo estás. You can say estoy bien, gracias, y usted. If you're good, if you're happy, estoy feliz, gracias, y usted. If you're tired, this is a good time for you to let me know how you're feeling that day too. If you're really tired or you're stressed, or you're frustrated, I can definitely take that into account as we work through the material, of course. So estoy cansada, right? If I'm a girl, cansado, if you're a boy. So yo estoy cansada, gracias, y usted. Or if you're like this little frustrated guy down here, oh, estoy frustrada, gracias, y usted. So always being polite and asking afterwards. And of course, we finish with a farewell. Adios for goodbye. Hasta luego. Until later. Remember, really important, never saying that H for hola, hasta. Ever. Don't ever, 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 ever say that H. Be very careful. Hasta la próxima semana. Until next week. That's a good one because I will be speaking to you every week. Hasta mañana. Until tomorrow, if you're planning on coming again the next day. So greeting, ¿cómo estás? And your farewell. Always, always, always at the beginning of our online sessions. Okay, so our first project that we're going to jump into is our Spanish for Dummies manual. Some of you might have done one of these already. So as I'm sure you already know, another summer has come and gone, and with it, some of your Spanish grammar, vocabulary, and skills. I know, guys, how easy it is to forget language skills. Oh my goodness, even I have to constantly, I call my parents all the time so I can practice my Spanish and make sure I stay on top of my fluency and my grammar as well. It's so easy to forget, especially when you're surrounded by English. So what we're going to do in order to maintain the fluency you've worked so hard to obtain, we also need to practice on a regular basis. But we'll first start with refreshing our memories, and that is the point of this project. So your task is to create a manual, a Spanish for Dummies manual, for students who are just beginning the course that you completed last year. So if you're in Spanish 23Y, you will be completing one for Spanish 10-3Y. This video is an overview of the assignment, so make sure you're up to date with what your level is and the level before that. So if you're in 8-6Y, the level before would be 7-6Y. If you're in 29Y, the level before would be 10-9Y, and so on and so forth. If you're in Spanish 6-9Y, the one before would be Spanish 5-9Y, right? So make sure that you watch the video carefully for the instructions, but you also refer to your assignment sheet. Of course, that will be posted on Google Classroom. Okay, so the format you choose is up to you. You can do a brochure, a slide presentation like a PowerPoint or a Prezi, an online ebook, or your own idea. Guys, there are hundreds and hundreds of programs out there, even free ones, which are fantastic. So if you know of a good one or if you want to try one out, by all means, go for it. You might want to double check with me just in case it doesn't work in this format in the online format, but most of them should. However, be careful when trying new ones. I don't know all the programs out there, so if you get stuck, I might not be able to help you, but I will definitely do my best. Remember, your manual needs to be concise, clear, and thorough. So I'm not looking for long answers like in an essay. I'm looking for concise, clear, and thorough. So think about that when you're choosing your format. It should be easy to follow. Remember, it's Spanish for Dummies, so anybody should be able to follow it clearly. Okay, on your assignment sheet, you will be given a list of concepts covered in the previous course for each concept. So this is quite a big project. Definitely taking your time, doing it one bit at a time, and asking for help as much as you need to. And of course, I'm more than happy to edit them as you go along as well. So for each concept, you need to include 3 things. Number 1, a brief explanation. Keyword brief explanation about what the concept is and how it is used in Spanish. Number 2, número 2, all necessary information needed to use that concept. And I'll explain that more in a moment. Número 3, include a minimum of 1 example per concept. Maybe put a little star beside that one. For some reason, it's the easiest one to forget. And sometimes, depending on the concept, those are some easy marks to get in for your content. So don't forget, for each concept, these 3 things. So, for example, if one of your concepts happens to be definite articles, yes, and I know right now your brain is probably like, what is that? I promise you know what a definite article is. You'll be surprised how fast everything will start coming back to you. And yes, I will be going through this concept. So if it's on yours, I hope you have that notebook out and you're jotting down some tips as I go along. So your concept is definite articles. Here's a brief explanation. Definite articles signal the presence of a noun. They are masculine or feminine, singular or plural, and are placed before the noun. So you don't have to word it like this. It can be simpler, it can be clearer. It's totally up to you as long as I have a good idea of your understanding of the concept. Here's all the necessary information. So if I were new to Spanish and I wanted to use definite articles, what is all the necessary information that I need? Well, I need to know what the 4 articles actually are. So I know that masculine singular is el, masculine plural, los, feminine singular, la, feminine plural, las. Right? Those are the 4. What do they mean? They all mean the, and those are the 4 definite articles. That right there is all your necessary information. And lastly, of course, your example, las casas. Las is feminine and plural. It means the houses. Las casas. Of course, be careful though. I'm looking for examples that are appropriate for your level. So for this example, it might be appropriate for grade 5, grade 6. If you're in 29Y, for example, I am looking for something a little more or a lot more complicated and complex. So an example might be something like El niño abrió la puerta. The boy opened the door. Notice there are 2 definite articles in there, el and la, as well as conjugation and some extra vocabulary. So that would be an appropriate example for some of the higher levels. So keeping that in mind. And that's it. And so when you're doing your written copy, your presentation, this is the structure I'm looking for. A brief explanation for the concept, all the necessary information, and of course, 1 example. It doesn't have to be these colors. It doesn't have to be in a PowerPoint presentation. It's up to you, but I will be looking for these 3 components for each concept. Notice how I explained it as well. I explained a lot of it in English, but all my pronunciation for the Spanish was appropriate. El niño abrió la puerta. Las casas. El, los, la, las. Right? So I will be looking for or listening for a combination as well when you present. So you'll be doing the written in a presentation that you will submit on Google Classroom, and then you will be coming online during our Blackboard sessions to present that presentation. So I will be looking for or listening for, I keep saying that, listening for proper pronunciation of the Spanish terms as well. So you can use English to explain the concepts, but making sure your fluency, your pronunciation, your accent is on point for the Spanish words within your explanations. All right, your assessment, of course, like most, if not all projects in this course, there will be a written and a verbal component. I will not be giving you a numerical value for this. You'll be able to see it at the end. What I want you to focus on is the value of your work, the integrity of your work. So in your written component, ask yourself a few questions. Did you include all the listed criteria? Did you miss an example here and there? Did you not include all of the criteria listed on the assignment sheet? That is where you begin to lose marks. So make sure that when you think you're done, ask yourself, did I include all listed criteria? Did you get your work edited beforehand? Did you come online during one of the online sessions and have me look it over to see if there were any errors, anything you could tweak? Are there any spelling and grammar mistakes? That's really important. You won't get docked for an odd spelling mistake here and there, but if they're so bad that I start to not really get what you're trying to say to me, it's not very clear, then you will most definitely lose marks there. And of course, don't forget the examples. I keep bringing this up because every year it's the one thing that students tend to forget. So don't forget those examples. Remember, 1 example per concept. So I know that you know how to use that concept. Verbal, like I said, is you're speaking clear, and this goes for both your English and your Spanish. So did you practice beforehand? Is it obvious because you're confident in how you're speaking, or are you kind of stumbling over your words? Is it obvious that it's the first time you're saying it out loud? Things like that is what I will be listening for. Like I said, have you rehearsed enough? So guys, I can't stress enough how important it is to speak out loud when you're practicing at home before coming online. I know it can be a little intimidating, especially the first few times when you're online and you're using a mic and things like that. The only way to get around the jitters, to get over the jitters, is to practice out loud, not just in your head, not just rereading your notes over and over again, but actually saying the words out loud. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get, and eventually the more confident you get, and that will transpire onto your final mark, right? That will shine through your final mark. Have you practiced, like I said, the Spanish terms out loud? And guys, you can actually practice with me. Come to the online sessions again and just say, hey, you know what? I want to get the jitters out of the way. I want to practice all my Spanish terms. Is that okay? Say, absolutely. I won't mark you then. We'll practice together and then you'll be good to go. In the past, I've actually had students practice so many times with me that at one point I just gave them their mark because they were doing so well just practicing instead of doing the final presentation. So that was fantastic. That's always an option as well. Did you check your pronunciation beforehand? So one of the things you really want to avoid is go ahead, start your presentation. I'm right there marking, and then all of a sudden you stop and you're like, Miss Enriquez, how do you say this? Oh, no, 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 no. Make sure you do that before. You can email me. You can contact me via chat or, of course, coming to the online sessions. But you need to ask me before. You can ask me any word beforehand. You can ask me a million times, but definitely not during your final presentation. While it's discouraged, highly discouraged. Of course, like I mentioned, submit your written component on Google Classroom and present your verbal component via Blackboard during our assigned class times. Okay, guys, that's it for me. If you need anything else, you know how to contact me. If not, I look forward to seeing you in class. Gracias. Adios.